something they can hear as they veer to the left, but it's best that they hang with the right every day. Last night, took flight in the bucket, nigga, fuck it. We bustin' down doors, nigga, never trust hoes with the bustin' down hoes. We cutting down grows, they fussin' eat crow, cause fuck them no. They part of the clientele, everybody ain't built for this shit. They try and fail, thinking if we shop on the 7th, they buy and sell, but really you might as well. It's a cold day in hell times 2. You're in need of your father, nigga, gotta punk you. I'm a few seasons in the anime, they cartoon, but they hawk boom through the melon and refusal of the medicine. It's order to my brethren, perpetual. Middle fingers pointed at your reverend until the day I died. It's my regiment. You worry about the Nephilim, I'm focused on my daughters in Michigan. Flint, barely get bought. The river still off of their 10%. Yeah, though the situation's grim, JoJo with the poses. The Lord is a man of war, his habitation is Goshen. You hear our voices and see our choices. You're better off with the roaches. They fucking you with a Trojan. You call it a bed of roses. All sacrilegious and bogus. They voted. You thought you was the sheep and really used the toilet. This is sanity repeated. Hey, what a nigga seeking. We can see it once again to this European demon. Go to war in the pandemic. Freedom is saying quitting. Come on, war. I'm a cotton's out soldiers for the last minute. Trophies, thuggies, and huggies. Quicker to split in the deputy commanded general. YAHANNA raisers, Rufus and Freddy. Hit the dirt. Bottom of fringes and my boots is getting muddy. But the money ain't a thing unless my brother's good. I ain't got opinions, I just take orders. Too easy to be a coward, I can't change garments. Same story like Adam and Eve. Found out they was naked, try sowing some leaves. I'm just trying to sow what I reap. If the blind lead the blind, then that hole gon' be deep. This the work of the Lord. God, roll up my sleeves. Went from digging up evil, nigga, and rolling up weed. I know what I see. My people destroyed y'all. Who gave you that white image? People destroyed y'all. Feel like Marvin Gaye. What's going on? Yesterday I seen this black man on the overdose. Same day, DMX died. Hell is cold. If you value what they teach, you'll never grow. Black man got more value than precious gold. Be careful what this world is, snatch your soul.
Shut down my shit. I.S.U.P.K. The home of the truth, nigga. Started out in one West, nigga. I.S.U.P.K. The home of the truth, nigga. Started out in one West, nigga. Year 2007 has gone. A leader was born. When Commander General YAHANNA year is on. New 7 has born. I took my oath, nigga. I.S.U.P.K. It's the only fucking way. One West to the death until they better make. And I see Alexander, big bottle of scotch. What's the whip with the block? The wheel we set up shop. I got fire, yeah. We front on to Zaria. So hold your peace. When he speak, when he teach. Before I reach for that peace and clear that street, I was never humble, always a beast. I let it fly for the most high. YAHANNA, L Cool J, homie. I'm that type of guy. And for the heathen, I'm the only one standing in this. You and I.
This life is a long ride, strife, full of wisdom, truth, and lies. I found love a couple times. It's nice. Had a couple trusted friends and some, but now this life is a long ride, strife. The test of a vanished how survivor had thoughts of suicide. If family life, a coward 1,000 times. Okay, this not my first time in this hemisphere. Lord knows I've been here, I fucked up before, so I understand my condition here. Or no knowledge of self, though my parents' efforts was sincere, became a thunderous wanderer. lost in this biosphere. Nana on her deathbed, telling me I'm tired, dear. At the age of 4, that was yesteryear. Now I'm at 34, showing signs of her spirit here. Too young to think to press beyond the stratosphere. Became all the love you the trust, it should never heal. Damage people, watch your step in this minefield. Believe I tell you these things are real. Your flesh know yourself, being praying for Lord to interfere. God knows I've been going through shit. Even through it all, I found lessons in it. Though my soul has never found peace with every step, I gain strength, so I swear I'll never quit. Life is a long ride, strife, wisdom. I ain't at the die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. And we seen the rise of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high was the devil. I see the devil. I ain't the devil. I remember I was only 13 when I met the demon. Gave me a deuce in the bundle of cocaine. Told me to sell to my people, make sure you keep them fiending. If any try to show you, make sure that you leave them leaking. He said, I'm hold you down when problems pop up. How you got me moving this dope? Want me a up? He said, don't you want the best vertical with the top up? Yeah. Stop, bitch, be in that kitchen, let it rock up. Bitches love the dope boy, especially when it's pop up. I know you know why. Who the plug from by the block up? I'll tell you a little secret, make sure that you keep your mouth shut. Brian got a Lexus, crib in Philly and Texas. Up Bahamas, scouted before his mama. He fucking up the Bahamas. Be honest, he seemed decent though. I hear you, but I just seen Ron about a week ago. Fat, he ain't looking too good. His knees is kinda slow. I asked him why the struggle. He got stuck up for his bundle, but them 6 hollow tips in his legs what made him crumble. Daisy got a house and mama is living good. Said the feds took it all. He right back in the hood. I see you try to play me. You gave us crack in the 80s. Made us abort our babies and making hoes out our ladies. I know you got me crazy. It's gonna take more than cars wanna amaze me. I seen niggas shoot for the stars but being lazy. Never get their head at the clouds so you don't faze me. I guarantee that you gon' regret it, remember I said it. No, you could get it. What you saying, I can't win? No, devil, nice try. So until we meet again, I ain't at the die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. And we see the eyes of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high was the devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil. I ain't at the die to meet the devil. I ain't religious or superstitious. But we. Hey, shalom, 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 Yahweh Shem Yahshai Barak Thumb to all the brothers. Yahweh Shema Alet Thun Ba Shem Yahshai to all the sisters. We at it again. It's Sunday in the 3 p.m. hour. You know what we do on Sundays? We're trying to figure out what is going on in Canada.
Damn right.
Right? We got a bunch of stories today. Today's theme is, what are we talking about today? Hold up. We talking about the oppressor. He's the devil, right? The oppressor is the devil. That's the background theme of today's episode. And we're going to bring out all the devilish things that the oppressor has been doing to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? Because CBC ain't talk about this. CB24 ain't gonna talk about it. They might speak on it for like a second, but they ain't gonna tell you the truth about really what's going on. They're not gonna tell you that the oppressor is the devil. They will make excuses and say he was troubled, right? If he killed someone, he was troubled. He shot up Salakia. I got a joke for you, Officer Shariwan, as we get into this episode. Right, so with me, I got my main man with me, my right hand, Officer 50 Shariwan. Give a hand to that brother. Right, you know who I am. I'm Officer Zabaja. Right, we are the I.S.U.P.K, holding down Canada under Commanding General YAHANNA until Christ comes back. Right, Christ is the leader. Commanding General YAHANNA is leading us until Christ comes back. And this is the only place you're going to find out who you are, what the truth is, and what you got to do to get out of oppression, right? So let's get into it. What do we got today, Officer Shariwan?
So this first article, Salakia, we got a video we're going to share on a man accused of beating a Tacoma security guard to death.
All right, let's get that.
Sir.
Right, so there was an oppressor who beat a security guard to death, and we're gonna go into it.
Sir. So this is an article, or Slack. This is a video on a man that was accused of beating a Tacoma security guard to death. This is a story of an oppressor who beat a lady or a woman security guard. This happened down in the States, in the United States.
Let's get it.
Accused of brutally beating a Tacoma security guard. In Pierce County, a man accused of brutally beating a Tacoma security guard to death made his first appearance in court today.
Court documents claim that the JBLM Army Ranger was so drunk he doesn't even remember committing that crime. K13 News reporter Frankie Thompson is live in Tacoma with today's unsettling new details. Frankie? Jamie, a judge says 26-year-old Patrick Byrne is a danger to the community and set his bail at $2 million. The U.S. Army soldier faces 5 felony charges, including murder, for the brutal attack of 41-year-old Denise Nicole Smith. Today, Byrne's attorney says he is...
We just got to pause it, right? Can you bring it back just to when that second lady starts speaking? Yeah, the sister, that lady in the blue, I'm not sure. Right around when she starts speaking, right? Because she said something like it might have went over everybody's head, but in I.S.U.P.K, we're taught to listen and listen well, right? The judge said this man, this devil, this murderer, right, who murdered a sister, the judge said this man is a danger to society, a danger to the community, but still granted the bail. Right, all the person has to do is come up with, I think, 10% of 2 million, which is about 200,000. Listen, 15 oppressors could come up with that 200,000 very quickly.
Right.
If he's part of any type of Aryan Nation, white supremacy, Ku Klux Klan, any type of those organizations, they already have that 2 million just ready, right? That man shouldn't have got bail. You could play it again from when she starts speaking.
Jamie, a judge says 26-year-old Patrick Byrne is a danger to the community and set his bail at $2 million. The U.S. Army soldier faces 5 felony charges, including murder, for the brutal attack of 41-year-old Denise Nicole Smith. Today, Byrne's attorney says he is pleading not guilty on all 5 counts. Investigators say a drunken Byrne severely beat Smith while she was working as a security guard in Tacoma, trying to stop him from entering a building Sunday morning. Security cameras captured the moments before, during, and after the attack. Court documents say he barged his way past Smith into the building she was patrolling. When she grabbed Byrne by the shirt trying to stop him, the court documents say that's when he began beating her for 8 to 10 minutes. Prosecutors say Byrne grabbed Smith by her braids and dragged her like a rag doll while she was fighting for her life. The documents say Byrne choked Smith until her body went limp. When coworkers came in that morning to switch shifts, they found her bleeding and unresponsive on the ground. Investigators say she was practically unrecognizable when she was pronounced dead on the scene. Detectives say Byrne...
Good night. Again, this monster, right? This demon child, this monster got bail, right? 200 million. Again, it's 2 million. It's not hard for an oppressor to come up with 2 million. They rule the damn earth, right? They have trillions. This sister was patrolling, doing a slavery, doing a job to feed her children, when she should have been at home securing her children, right?
we're assuming she has children. Salaki, it didn't say if she has children or not, but she should have been at home with her husband, right? She shouldn't have been overnight doing security. But because we're under our oppression, these are jobs that a lot of black women have to work. A lot of brothers, we take jobs we don't necessarily want to do. Right? Salakia, Officer Shariwan. I don't know if you have anything else you want to add, or we could continue playing this clip.
So, Slacky, so I got a quick precept I'd like to bring out.
Khan.
This is the book of 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 7.
Right.
It reads, likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel.
Right.
Right. And I bring that up just to piggyback off what you're saying. The daughters of Zion, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indian women, you are the weaker vessels. You understand? Like you women should not be out there fighting, going to war, protecting, defending, especially a security job. Salakia, did they say that she was working overnight?
Khan, they said she was working overnight, and as this devil tried to come in, she grabbed him by the shirt, and he just gave her the I.S.U.P.K killer tactics that he knows since the womb.
Khans and Salakia, sir, if my wife's even going for a walk past 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, the sun's down, you understand? Like I'm making sure she's good.
Right.
I'm making sure she has a cell phone with her so I can check in. You understand? Better yet, if you don't need to go, you don't have to go for a walk at night. Go for a walk in the daytime.
Right.
Understand? Let alone a security guard position.
Salakia. I feel you because I tell my rib the same thing. Like if you going out, like what time is it? You going out? Oh no, the sun's setting. Okay, I'm not with you. Stay your Ross inside. I had to say it the Jamaican way, Salakia. I had to say it like a Benjamin. Stay your Ross inside. Where are you going? Don't you know Esau is a killer? God. Right? There are thousands of missing sisters. Like that is definitely the right attitude that you have. You tell your rib that listen, you don't need to go outside. You want to go outside, do that in the daytime, right? Like there's no need to be outside with the demons. There's a song, right? There's an old song. It used to be, I think it went like the freaks come out at night. I'm gonna remix that right now. Esau the killer comes out at night. Right. Salakia, right? So that like there Esau is a beast, right? We've been prey to many beasts of the field, and Esau is a beast. He only wants to kill. And just look at this devil. You can't see any remorse in him. He said, I'm not guilty. He beat that sister to death, right? That means your DNA is all over her. How the hell you say you're guilty? What are you not guilty of? Because you didn't. Salakia, I'm going on. Stop me because I be going on. But this man is going to try to get away and say that I didn't realize I did it because I'm drunk. Some Edomite judge is going to say his intention was not to kill her when he struck her in the face 20 times. That wasn't his intention.
Salakia, Adawan. Kind of piggybacking off what you said is that this video also said that this man was an army veteran. And you already know some of the stories that they say, right? Like whether they just came out of the army and they weren't correctly, what do they say? Correctly socialized back into society.
Right.
Right. Like they weren't given the proper tools to come back in society. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he pleads something like that. Like maybe he was sick or some kind of PTSD or something. You understand? Something that he gained from the army. I wouldn't be surprised if he used something like that.
Right. You know that all his friends and family are going to say, he was such a good boy. He was such a good man. Right? They're going to make 1,000 excuses from him. One thing that we know about Esau's army is Esau has been a killer since the womb. Right? He comes out the womb thinking about his first kill. the army teaches these brothers how to get in. Salakia. I said brothers, right? The oppressor is not our brother. The army teaches these men how to kill, how to get in contact with their inner killer, right? They go over, they kill everything, they rape everything, abuse. We're going to use the word abuse. They go over to foreign countries and abuse every female they can see, even the men, right? If you don't believe me, just go look at the pictures of Guantanamo Bay. Look at the torture that they do in Guantanamo Bay. Google it. Torture Guantanamo Bay. You're going to find Arab sons of the Arabian sons, they're going to be handcuffed and bent over each other naked, right? They didn't do that to themselves. The oppressor did that. And just like what you were saying, Officer Shariwan, we know that the oppressor, he's trained to kill. Once that inner demon comes out, there's no way of putting it back in unless you put a dog down. Sometimes you have to put a ravaged dog down. Christ is going to do that for us. We don't have to do that, but he's not going to have the compassion because all he knows now is kill.
So, and Salakia Adawan, if I may.
Right.
Something you said that I was actually thinking as I was watching this video is he was probably like, I almost had the picture that he was looking at this woman as one of the women that he met in a bar overseas, like while he was away at war.
Right.
And he's looking at this sister like give me what I want, probably high as hell out of his mind, right? Drunk, this and that. And in my mind, I'm like, you're looking at this sister, this daughter of Zion, as she's somebody that reminds you of somebody.
Right.
Yeah, like she's somebody that reminds you of a girl that turned you down, right? Or some girl that turned you down in school or overseas or somewhere, and in your rage and in your alcohol, whatever you were doing, like all that rage just came out that night, right? Salakia.
Nah, that's definitely true, man. Like what was going through his mind? He saw an enemy. You have to know that the oppressor is your enemy. And if I may, right, I'd like to bring out Officer Shariwan. Can you get me John 8 and 44, Baba Kasha?
Come on, sir. This is the book of John, chapter 8 and verse 44. And it reads, "Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do."
Right. Our oppressor, his lust is the same lust that Cain had, where you can't tell once he gets angry, he wants blood. He's out for blood, right? That's why he was cursed with a mark. His blood shows through his skin, because that's what he's about. He's about causing destruction, causing murder as soon as he can't get his way, right? They're saying this man wanted to walk through wherever he was going. We don't know what was going through his mind, but he was told he can't do it. He decided to kill a sister. Now we lost a sister, right? You can keep reading.
Come. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him.
Right. There's no truth in our oppressors, right? They want to just kill. That's what they want to do. Keep reading.
Come. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own.
He said, I'm not guilty for killing this sister, even though you're going to find out his DNA is all over her, the plate, all over her. If he was hitting her with his bare hands, his knuckles, his hands are all messed up right now. Right? And he said, I'm not guilty. He's not telling the truth. He's guilty. He deserves to be put to death. The Lord needs to put this man to death.
Right. Damn right.
Give me some more.
When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own.
Right.
For he is a liar and the father of it.
Right. This man, he's been a murderer from the beginning. He's a liar and he's the father of lies, right? He's the same spirit that told Eve that if she goes on to the other nations and does what she does, she's not going to die. But on that day, her life in the garden ended. Right? Let's get some more of this video. Let's finish out this video, Baba Kasha.
Drinking and doesn't remember anything except waking up in a hospital.
But the absolute rage that was that the defendant showed in this incident, I think puts the community at risk, and I think a $2 million bail would be appropriate.
JBLM confirms it is aware of Burns' arrest. Today, prosecutors say the military informed them that it is separating from Burns. In a statement, JBLM says U.S. Army Special Operations Command, as well as the leadership at Joint Base Lewis McChord, are cooperating fully with local law enforcement agencies in the ongoing investigation. Again, Byrne has 5 felony charges against him, including murder, burglary, and kidnapping. His next court hearing is scheduled for August 16th. Reporting live in Tacoma, Frankie Thompson, Q13 News.
Right. That is definitely, it's a sad thing. There's something that you touched on earlier where you were talking about we have to acknowledge that our sisters, our wives, our mothers, our grandmothers, aunties, ribs, daughters, they are the weaker vessel compared to the man. They're not the one that's going to have to fight the killer in the house at 3 a.m. if there's a break-in, right? You're going to tell your rib, take the kids, secure yourself in the washroom, take this knife or take this firearm if you're legally allowed to own one. And if you don't see me come back, you know what to do. Right? That sister should have never been trying to patrol anything. What are you securing? Right? She should have been securing her family, securing her spot in the kingdom. That's what she should have been securing. She's trying to secure something for the oppressor and ended up dead from another oppressor. Right? We'll drop that. Right? Our oppressor has been extremely violent towards us. Doesn't matter if we're children or old men or women. They've been extremely violent to us, and that's just the spirit of our oppressor. What do we got next?
Sir. So this next article we have, Salaki, let me get my screen up. This next article we have is it's updating what took place last year in Caledonia, and it's titled "The Standoff at 1492 Landback Lane." And this article is updating, I guess, some of the events, or it would be updating, I guess, the progress of this fight over land rights.
Right. So they're saying, well, we're going to go through an update, right? It's been about a year. They've been begging and asking the oppressor for their land back for about a year. And we're going to find out what the update was, right? Has there been any progress? Have you got an acre of land? Let's say a yard. Have they even conceded a yard of land in a country? Salakia, Officer Shariwan, it's extremely, before we were in the back talking, right? Officer Shariwan said something very heavy, right? And I'm going to let him bring it out. But he was talking about how Canada has so much land being unused, right? Let's find out if the children of Gad, did they even get an acre of this land?
Salakia, Adawan, if I could ask, this land that they're fighting over, is this land that our native brothers are trying to get back? Or is this land that the land that the Canadian government is trying to take away? Do you know?
Okay, so as I remember, this is because we went out. There's a video on I.S.U.P.K Canada, right? No Cowards Canada. Check it out on YouTube. There's a video of us going out there and speaking to our brothers and sisters. As I remember, this is a land that was part of the treaty, but they haven't been on it for so long, and they decided to take it back because it's in the treaty. There's been over 1,000 treaties that devils have signed with the children of Gad, right?
Right.
And other natives to the land of Canada and the US, and every single treaty has been broken or just not acknowledged.
Con, sir. And so, if I could, if you look up what an interesting fact about Canada is, if you look at the map of Canada, it's actually one of the largest countries in the world in terms of land mass. And according to its land mass, Canada is actually the #1 country of the least populated land. So what I mean is the people. So basically, this fact is that the amount of people that would take up a certain portion of land, like its land density.
Right.
Canada actually has the most unpopulated land in the entire world. Right?
Slovakia. So basically what you're telling me is they could just leave this land for the natives if they really wanted to. They could give them the land that they want if they really wanted to, because there's so much land that's not being used from oppressors.
Sir, Slovakia. And not just to that, but Canada could probably give damn near 3 or 4 provinces away worth of land and not even feel it.
God.
That's how much free land Canada actually has. And if you look at a place like Bangladesh is a very small, very, very small landmass. I think you could compare it to, you could probably compare it to one of the states in the United States. And that country has like well over 1 billion people living in it. And when you look at Canada, I think Canada's population, Slovakia, I'll look that up really quick. The population of Canada,
it's probably around 32 mil, somewhere around there.
We're in 2021. We're estimated to be around 40 million people.
40 mil, con.
And so you think of a country like Bangladesh, they're not even the size of one of our provinces, and they're at well over 1 billion people. And so that's just kind of the comparison about all the land that Canada actually owns.
I understand, right? Like they could definitely give away land if they wanted to, right? Let's get into this article and find out what's going on. What is the update, right? Because when we spoke to the Gadite brothers and sisters, now they had a man representing themselves, right? Salakia. This man appeared to be a devil, right? Now we would have to check his registry, but he appeared to be a devil. And it made sense to me why they were doing this, because they're doing things that aren't, it's not correct. It's not the right way of doing things. You can't beg your oppressor for land, right? Now they took a little small, let's say it looked like at the most 1 block, like a small neighborhood of land, right? A very small neighborhood of land. And if the oppressor wanted to, he could send a drone in real quick. A drone flying from 200 feet up, a little rocket, and that now every Native American is gone, right? And they would have blamed it on Al-Qaeda. They would have blamed it on the Taliban and said, we didn't see it. It was a drone. Right? They would have said it was a terrorist attack.
Damn right. So Salakia, sir, you want me to get into the article?
Yeah, Khan, we can get into the
article. Sir. So this is just an update. This is an update of 1 year later from the standoff at 1492 Landback Lane. Just a couple things going on. The key phrase was, at the officials level, Joe Wild, Federal Senior Assistant Deputy Minister, and Grant Wedge, Provincial Assistant Deputy Minister, were leading the files and met in January to coordinate. But the documents explained it is unclear whether the views exchanged between Joe Wild and Grant Wedge reflect Ontario views at the deputy minister or ministerial level. And so after 2 rounds of blockades, 2 permanent injunctions, a police raid, more than 16 million spent by police, intelligence.
Salakia. How much was spent by police?
More than $16 million spent by police.
Wow. So you're telling me they had enough money to spend $60 million on police, but Native American reservations are still trying to get clean drinking water.
Wow.
Right? The schools are in terrible conditions. They had $60 million though to spend on police. If you go to Spadina and Bloor in the city of Toronto, in the downtown core, you're going to see Native Americans, the children of Gad, God's chosen children, sleeping on the sidewalk. But they had $60 million to fight a little protest.
God,
you can give me some more?
And Salakia, what I find interesting is, and maybe this is just me, but when we read numbers like $16 million, like that is a lot of money. Like that's not a small thing to just overlook. Like $16 million could solve so many issues.
Right.
It could solve so many problems. And I just wanted to kind of piggyback off what you're saying. Like that's really not a small number by any means.
Right, but Salakia, I gotta step in for a second. It's the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that's not a small number. To the oppressor who's living in the kingdom, who made billions, trillions of dollars off Black, Hispanic, and Native American blood, that's a drop in the bucket.
Right.
They spent, listen, Jeff Bezos and them, they be spending, and Elon Musk, those devils, they be spending damn near millions, right? Hundreds of millions to build and test rocket ships.
Sir. Salakia. So this goes on to say, so again, I'll say, it says after 2 rounds of blockades, 2 permanent injunctions, a police raid, more than $16 million spent by police. Check this. Intelligence gathering by Canada's top spy agency.
They needed spies. Damn.
A class action lawsuit, and after first proposing the meeting in August, the people with the most power to quiet civil unrest in the small town south of Hamilton had done essentially nothing.
Wait. They got land? That's what you said? They got some land back?
Had done essentially nothing.
There you have it, people. All that protesting, all that destroying train tracks, digging up road, you got nothing for it. What you did get was in the nighttime, the police came and shot at you with rubber bullets. They shot at women and kids. What you were supposed to do was get with your brothers and sisters in the I.S.U.P.K and learn how to not physically fight this war, but spiritually fight this war, right? Thinking that you could physically fight an oppressor who has drones, tanks, fighter jets, like 1,000 different kinds of firearms. That was bad leadership, right? Your leaders were leading you to death. That was bad leadership. What you should have did was get with the men of the Lord, find out who you are, right? Because you're calling yourselves Native Americans. That's not who you are. You are the children of God, of Gad, God's chosen people, right? You didn't get nothing from it. Now what do you do?
Come on, sir. Salakia, I I have one more thing I'd like to bring out on this article.
Fine.
Just stating some more of the money that they spent. It says, it was then the dispute drew attention from Ottawa's top spy agency, the Canadian Security Intelligence Service, the agency which investigates threats to national security, prepared a secret intelligence brief that laid out notable concerns regarding critical infrastructure. In that same month alone, the OPP spent $3.8 million on the Mackenzie Meadows operation, or roughly $125,000 per day. APTN revealed these details through provincial and federal access to information requests.
Salakia, read that one more time.
Sir. In that same month alone, the OPP spent $3.8 million on the Mackenzie Meadows operation, or roughly $125,000 per day. APTN revealed these details through provincial and federal access to information requests.
So they spent all that money to do what exactly? To get information?
Salakia, sir. They sent out Ottawa's top spy agency, which is known as the Canadian Security Intelligence Service, and God knows what they're trying to investigate or find out. I could not tell you, sir. But
Listen,
that is a lot of money spent.
Salakia, that sounds like they had some money to write off, so they just wrote it off however it went, and that went into some politician's pocket. Because what are you investigating? Are you trying to find out if our brothers and sisters are terrorists? Well, the terrorist sits in the House of Commons, right? The terrorist sits in the House of Commons and he says, "Speaker, I have something to say." The terrorists are in Ottawa, right? And their underlings, they're in every provincial government you could think of, every municipal government. Those are where the terrorists are. So what were you investigating? Salakia, if you can, Baba Kasha, can you get me Lamentations 4 and 7? 4 and 17, Baba Kasha.
Come on, Council. This is the book of Lamentations, chapter 4 and verse 17, and it reads, "As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching we have watched for a nation that could not save us."
You thought that you going to a piece of land and saying, "We're taking this over," right? And hoping that the government would concede and say, "Yes, you can have it." You thought that you were going to get help. You thought that you doing that, every nation was going to come and say, "Listen, you've been extremely cruel to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You should just give them this land." Right? You've put thousands of Native American children in residential schools, traumatized them to the point where their children's children are now traumatized. You thought that was going to help, right? You thought you could go to them and say, "Hey, help us," and they were going to help you. That's not who's going to help you, right? You need to find a higher power if you're looking for help. This protest, it led back to, it resulted in 0% progress. There was no progress at all. Like, to think, Salakia, let me, if I may, to think that because some oppressors now start talking about the crimes that the oppressors have done, that this is going to change something, that's one of the worst things to think, right? You're thinking that the oppressor loves you when he doesn't. If the oppressor wanted to give you back that land, you would have had it back in the 1800s.
Right.
So, if you have anything else you want to add to this?
So, Salakia, sir, and this is just the spirit of who these people are. Actually, Salakia, if I could bring out a precept. Salakia, in the book of Genesis, Salakia, I think it's verse 25. Salakia, Genesis 3 and verse 15. Genesis 3 and verse 15 reads, and this was the Most High speaking, saying, "And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed, and it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel." And I bring this up to say because this same spirit came out between Jacob and Esau.
Right.
And Salakia, when the younger grabbed on to the brother's heel, right? Like this is speaking about enmity between two nations of people, right? Two nations that struggled in Rebecca's womb. And we have been at enmity with these people from day one, right? And this is something that our people have to understand, right? We have enemies according to God. There's in Salakia, if I could bring up the definition of this word, the Strong's definition of this word enmity is hatred or hostility, right? Like these people hate us. These people are at enmity with us. There's a lot of hostility between us. Like you saw when you went to those protests, right? You seen all the police out there trying to fight with the natives over a piece of land. Like that is hostility. You understand? So this was prophesied damn near 5,000-6,000 years ago. Right? There's no new thing under the sun. Like these people we're at enmity with. And there's nothing that anybody can do to change it. Salakia.
Nah, that is heavy, because we okay, our brothers and sisters, the children of Gad, they think that it's about loving everybody. They don't understand we are at war. We've been at war. They've been attacking us. They've been killing Native Americans. Thousands of our sisters are missing. Thousands of our children are being digged up. And I say our children because Native Americans are my people. Right. The Officer Shayuan's people. They are the children of Gad.
Concept.
Salakia. Is there anything else you got for this article?
Salakia, sir. That was all, sir.
Khan. Let's get to what do we got for the next one? Let's go to number 3.
Khan, sir. So this next article we have, Salakia, let me get the right one. RCMP veteran. So Salakia, this next article we have is, Salakia, that's the wrong one. Here we go. So this next article, it's titled "Racist and Full of Hate. Groups Demand Justice for suwet'en Man Killed by RCMP." So this article was written on July 16th. I think that's about 3 weeks ago. And this story is covering an altercation between a brother from suwet'en and the RCMP, which led to this man's death. So Salakia, I'll get right into it. The article goes on to read, the First Nations Leadership Council is calling for justice, accountability, an inquest, and a higher level of oversight in the aftermath of the RCMP shooting of a suwet'en man in Campbell River, BC.
Right.
The province's police oversight body says they will complete a thorough, fair investigation and is open to an indigenous monitor. In a press release on July 13, indigenous leaders expressed outrage over what they called dehumanized treatment of Jared Lowndes by police and media. They questioned the RCMP's actions that they said did not attempt to de-escalate a situation that left a 38-year-old father of two dead.
Wait, so there was a situation with the RCMP that left a 32-year-old father of two, a Native American brother, dead. Right? This sounds very familiar. This sounds like just another day in Canada. Just another day when oppressors decide that, listen, you know what? We need blood. We need to kill somebody today. What else we got in this article?
Concert. It says that this ongoing cycle of violence, neglect, abuse, death, and murder is fueled by enforcers who are racist and full of hate for indigenous peoples and who are wrongfully entrusted by the colonial Canadian state to implement unjust laws and policies. According to a police report, Lowndes failed to stop when officers tried to pull him over for an outstanding warrant. Officers then spotted Lowndes' vehicle at a Tim Hortons, and RCM vehicles boxed him in.
Right, so Salakia, they seen this brother, they decided to pull him over, they boxed him in, right? That sounds like a high risk takedown, boxing him in. Does it specify what the warrant was?
Salakia, in this article, it does not state what the warrant was for.
Khan, let's get some more of this article. Let's figure out exactly what they did to cause this brother to be breathless.
Khan, sir. The RCMP vehicles boxed him in at a Tim Hortons. A confrontation occurred with an RCMP officer and police dog. The police dog was fatally stabbed, and the officer suffered knife wounds. Lowndes was shot and pronounced dead at the scene.
Right. So they boxed him in. They sent in the police dog. The police dog was stabbed, or the police dog was injured. They said an officer was also injured.
Sir. Slaki, it says the police dog was fatally stabbed.
The police dog was killed. Well, good riddance, Lassie. Like, put Lassie in the dirt, right? Yeah. Salakia. They've sick so many police dogs on blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that in a lot of communities where we dwell and where we live, when we see dogs, we're extremely we're terrified, right? And that is something we're born with. There was a study that came out a while back that basically said that our PTSD, our trauma, it goes on to our children through our DNA. Right. So I could fully see this brother being boxed in. They're sending in a dogs, and he's thinking about all the times in his previous life, or all the times that he's heard many stories of these people being mauled, killed by dogs, that the oppressor sits on them.
Sir, Salakia, if I may, we covered an article maybe a couple months back where there was a young brother driving who I don't think the police even got the right man driving. Right. But it was a young brother who, if I'm not mistaken, they gunned him down. I'm pretty sure they took that brother's life. And they started firing because he took off after a bunch of cops boxed him in. And I think it was a young, if I'm not mistaken, that brother was maybe 17, 18 years old. He had no warrant, no nothing, just a young man driving who got scared and took off from the police, who had ended up in his death. And so I only say that to say, it's not an uncommon thing for anybody to be scared or frightened, you understand, or to want to fight for their life after the cops pull something like that.
Right.
Like you have God knows how many cars coming flying at you, especially if you're a man with a warrant, right? You're in fight or flight.
Right.
You're not in a state where you're just calmly thinking things clear.
Right, and that's heavy what you're saying, because a lot of times brothers don't even know they have warrants, but now you're being boxed in with all the trauma we've been through, all the lynchings, all the attacks we've been through. You would think they know better than to roll up on someone who suffers from trauma, their whole community, not even as an individual. Your whole community suffers from the trauma of the oppressor. You would think these devils know better than that, right? They could have, instead of boxing him in, they could have waited until he stepped out. They could have waited until he stepped out and hit him with a rubber bullet, right? Let's say he's a dangerous offender. His warrant is dangerous. He steps out, you hit him with a rubber bullet, surround him, get on the ground. Now, if he has guns pointed at him and he still decides to advance towards you, right? You don't have to shoot him. You can use a taser. What happened to all those thousands of riot shields that they had for G20? Right? They could have used that. If you point guns at him and tell him get on the ground and he doesn't follow the order and he disobeys that order and advances, that would even, they could more try to justify that than to say like, yo, you stick a dog on a man in a car.
So, Salakia Adawan, if I may, there was Commanding General Yahanna on Blackwatch covered a story where there was a full-out, I'm not even going to call it a gunfight, but there were kids with guns shooting at police officers.
Right.
And those police officers did not fire back. They took cover behind their cars, behind trees, and they kept yelling at those kids to stop firing. They kept yelling out, "Please, I don't want to do this. Put down your guns." And they ended up de-escalating the situation where both the kids came out of the house, and I guess they went on to detain them. But these police officers had enough discipline not to shoot at these kids.
Right. Here's the next crazy thing. We just read a story about the police officers spending $60 million, right, on intelligence, right? It doesn't cost that much to get 4 riot shields. All you needed was 4 men with riot shields. You box him in. You box him in and tackle him, right? It doesn't even cost that much, right? They could have done so many things other than kill this brother. But what you have to understand, right, is, and I know Officer Shariwan already understands this. They didn't go out to arrest that brother. They went out to kill him.
Damn right.
That in the back of their mind, they said, listen, we're going to try to arrest him. We're going to try to make it look like we're trying to arrest him. But listen, if he dies, he dies.
God.
Right. If you could, Baba Kashad, get me Job 9:24.
Come, sir. This is the book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof.
Right. Our oppressors are wicked, right? There are so many ways they could defuse and de-escalate situations peacefully, calmly. We see them do it with their own all the time. But when it comes to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, they that goes out the window and it's kill him. Right? They say, you know what, forget that, we gotta kill this man. Right? And that's what they do. Salakia, Ak, you got anything else you want to add to this story?
Sir, I don't have much to say on that. This article itself, it's saying the RCMP will not release any more details at this time until they've done a thorough investigation. The only thing that we do know is that this brother's life was taken.
Right. They're trying to figure out exactly, Salakia, they're trying to figure out exactly how do they cover this up? How do they make sure that when they bring this story out in the full light, that they make sure the officers get away with what's going on?
Calm,
Right.
sir.
You just got to know that, like, when the righteous are in authority, this is not going to happen, right? When Hispanics and Native Americans rule the earth in their rightful place and put the oppressors in chains where they're supposed to be, like the animal they are, that there's not going to be men being killed, right? When there are so many tactics they can use to incapacitate a man, right? Let's say they even had to incapacitate him. They could have used it's like a paintball gun, but it has pepper spray. It's pepper spray bullets. You see them use it all the time, right? They could have used pepper spray bullets. Listen, you're not even sure if he has a gun. Pepper spray bullets on him. They could have pulled up on him, and if it's the nighttime, they could have shined bright lights in the car, so he's blinded. He can't even see what's going on right now. And then you move in.
Khan, Salakia, sir, if I may, that precept you brought out earlier, John 8:44, right? He was a murderer from the beginning.
Right.
Something that we have to understand about the spirit of these people is they do not value life.
Khan.
There is absolutely no value of life, especially the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Because as Officer Zabadia was saying, there's so many other ways they could have dealt with this, right? Rubber bullets, pepper spray, or Salakia, those pepper spray bullets. I'm not exactly sure about what that is, but it's like
a paintball bullet.
Con, sir. So like a paintball with that pepper spray blowing up, right? Just being able to detain the man. Shoot, a taser gun. Shoot at the man's leg, right? Like, dude, there's so many other things to de-escalate the situation. But these people are they're straight up for blood, man. Salakia.
Right. Now that's definitely heavy, Salakia. Right. That's definitely heavy. What do we got next?
Con, sir. So this last article that we have, is, so this was a leaked post that the APTN was able to get a hold of, and the RCMP Veterans Association says, get on with life, move on from residential schools. And if I may, sir, I would like to play just a quick 23-second clip.
No sweat.
Come.
It said in part, the TRC revealed many ugly truths from which we need to learn, not apologize for. Today's generation cannot be responsible for the actions of our forefathers. The Public Safety Minister's office denounced the piece and provided a statement saying, we disagree strongly with material that denies pain and suffering caused by residential schools. It said,
play that last part again.
Come on, sir.
in part, that strongly with we disagree, and provided a statement saying, we disagree strongly with material that denies pain and suffering caused by residential schools.
Salakia, pause that and leave that on the screen. They disagree strongly with material that denies the pain and suffering caused by residential schools. Right. Now, this is the Ministry of Safety. They're saying they disagree with material that denies it. Well, obviously you should disagree with that, because the pain and suffering caused by residential school, it's like, the best way to put this is it's a ripple effect, right? You drop a stone in a pond, and in the center, you say ground zero, it's gonna be like a ploop, right? But around that ground zero, you're gonna see rings of ripples keep going and going and going. And that's what happened with residential schools. You put thousands of children in schools, their parents didn't know how to deal with that trauma. They still had children. That goes down. That keeps going. Some of those children survive. They have trauma, right? And that just keeps happening. Like Salakia, oppressors, they have no compassion. This shows you that oppressors will never love you. Stop fighting for the love of oppressors.
Khan, Salakia, Adawan, if I may.
Khan.
This echoes exactly what they say to us today. Get over slavery.
Right.
That was so long ago. Forget about it. Move on. And like brothers in the school say, what about 9/11? Everybody wants to say never forget. There's people from the Holocaust that committed crimes. They're 97 years old, still being put in jail for crimes they committed during the Holocaust.
Salakia, that's extremely heavy what you're saying, because I just seen an article about a man who's 100 years old about to go on trial for war crimes that stem from the Holocaust.
Gone, sir.
Right. So that's definitely heavy what you're saying.
Gone, Salakia, sir. And what's the reason I thought this article was so heavy is because this is directly an organization that played a hand in taking the kids and forcing them to go to these schools. Like this is coming from the RCMP.
Right.
Basically telling our native brothers, get on with your life.
Right. I got a couple precepts for this, right? First, get me Isaiah 14:21.
Come on, sir. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 21. Prepare slaughter for his children.
For who?
For his children.
The same people that's saying you can't judge us for what our forefathers did.
Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers.
Right? Their fathers put our brothers and sisters in residential schools. You're saying we can't judge you for that. We can't blame you for that. Even though you live deliciously off the blood of Native Americans, even though you live wonderfully off the blood of Hispanics and so-called blacks, right? You're saying we can't judge you for slavery. We can't judge you for the rape and murder, for the abuse that thousands of children suffered under your hand, even though you enjoy the benefit from it.
Salakia, Adawan. That's such a heavy statement, right? Like these people are literally walking around the streets today, benefiting off of what their forefathers did.
Right.
And blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians today, we are walking around suffering because of what our forefathers did. Right. And yet we can't hold them accountable for what their forefathers did. Like that's madness.
It's definitely madness. But this is our oppressor. They like to say they're not guilty, even though they're caught red-handed, even though their DNA is all over a battered and Salaki. I'm looking for the other word. What do they say? Battered and bruised sister that's murdered. Even though their DNA and their hands are all messed up and their handprint is all over the body, they say, listen, I didn't do it. Nah, nigga, you got blood on your hands with a bloody knife in your hand, and you're saying you didn't do it, right? Was that the rest of the article? Not the rest of the article. The last of the precept.
Come on, sir. That's the end of the precept.
Con. Let's get Deuteronomy 28 and I think 48.
Come on, sir. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee.
Salakia. Jump up. Give me 49. Let me find it. One moment. Right. You could read 49 and 50, Baba Kasha.
Come on, sir. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young.
Right. Like this is a nation. They don't care about what we've been through. They're never going to sympathize with us. All they're going to say is get over it. Right? They don't ever get over World War I, World War II, 9/11, the Vietnam War. They don't get over none of that. But we're told, listen, it was only 1960. Get over it.
And Salakia, other one, what's crazy, it's not even a long time ago. Salakia, I think that last residential school closed, was it 1969? Maybe
right.
It was 1967?
Right. That's heavy because the last residential school closed 1969. The Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge opened in 1969. Right. There's one more precept I want to add. I'm going to look for it. If there's anything else you want to add to this article, go ahead.
So Salakia, so that's all I wanted to bring out on that.
Khan, let me see if I can find this last precept.
I'll read one part of the article just as we're waiting. It says today's generations cannot be responsible for the actions of our forefathers. The post authored by Iwona Mooney read in part, adding, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission report revealed many ugly truths from which we need to learn, not apologize for.
Right. Like they think that they don't have to apologize. That is the way of the oppressor, right? If you can bring me to Proverbs 30 and 20, right? They basically say they're not guilty. Right? You could use this one. You could there's also another one that goes perfectly with what we're talking about right now.
Salaki, did you say Proverbs 30 and 20?
Proverbs 30 and 20.
Sir. This is Proverbs chapter 30 and verse 20. Such is the way of an adulterous woman. She eateth and wipeth her mouth, and saith, I have done no wickedness.
Right, right. These oppressors are saying we don't need to apologize to you because we haven't done anything wrong, right? It's just like in Zechariah 11:5-7, where our oppressors slay us, and they say we're not guilty, right? This is what our oppressors do. They will kill us at every chance they get. They will murder us, abuse us, turn around and look at us like, listen, get over it. It was just a little crack cocaine we put in your neighborhood. Like, you should still be able to pull yourself up from the bootstraps. Even though we locked up your father for a crime he didn't commit and we put your mother on drugs, it doesn't matter. You should be able to still go to college. Right? And I think that's about it, right? That's definitely about it. Again, our theme was the oppressor is the devil. Hold up, let's get it right back on the screen. The oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of, right? This has been another episode of What's Going On in Canada podcast, episode 4, right? We're showing you, as always, the oppressor hates you. He's never going to love you. If you're Black, Hispanic, and Native American, give all your love to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? Slovakia. Hold up. Whoa, listen, there's reports of over 5,000 graves being found, right? And that number is going to keep going up, right? The water for that. That number is going to keep going up. It's not going to stop because they've murdered Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans by the millions, right? Let's give a quick shout out to the chat, right? We have someone, Judgment, Thawada, Sister Kawapa, Mindy, Mindas, Arya, right? Thawada for tuning in. Salakia. Thawada for tuning in, right? Again, we'll be back. We'll be back next Sunday in the 3 p.m. hour, right? Thawada for tuning in. We'll be back. Like, share, and subscribe to this video. Again, like, share, and subscribe to this video. We'll be back. This has been another wonderful episode of What's Going On in Canada. Shalom, Lord in Christ. Yahweh Shamar, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Barakatham to all the brothers. Yahweh Shamar Alatham Ba'ashem Yahushai to all the sisters. Once again, this is I.S.U.P.K Canada. Like, subscribe, share, right? And we'll be back next week.
God, most high in Christ. All right, shalom, Israel.
Shalom.